Looking for a large SUV, but you only have about 70,000 euros to spend? Life's tough, I know. But at this price point, you don't have much to choose from, apart from Jeep Grand Cherokee or a Volkswagen Touareg.
This SUV takes its name from nomadic tribes living in North Africa. In production since 2002, the Touareg is now in its second generation, which underwent a facelift. Something was done to the front and rear, there are new colors, and now xenon headlamps are standard. So is the system for automatic braking after collision, which prevents the car from rolling into another crash. This car has the optional R-Line package on it, which apparently is supposed to make it look more dynamic.
Compared to a tank, the Touareg looks dynamic even without the R-Line package, and VW claims the car is more comfortable and agile than before the facelift.
Big changes also under the bonnet, where V6 TDI engines now have more power and are Euro 6 compliant. We'll talk about the consequences in a moment. The Touareg can be optionally equipped with pneumatic suspension, which increases or lowers ground clearance. The former is good in rougher terrain, the latter for fast driving. By the way, above 140 km per hour, the suspension lowers automatically.
The boot is 580 liters. Now the boot cover can be raised like so you don't have to reach for it all the way down there. Now there are some mounts on both sides. There is a 12-volt socket, there is a little compartment here on the side. Under the boot floor there is some space for your bits and pieces and tools and a repair kit. Yes, a repair kit, because under this styrofoam cover, which I can barely remove, is an AdBlue tank. Now AdBlue is basically a urea solution, and you have that to clean your emissions. So basically this car is cleaner thanks to this, but once in a while, unfortunately, you have to replenish that, and the onboard computer will remind you about that. Now there are some buttons here. There are two here to lower the back seats, and then there are another two buttons and therefore lowering the suspension so you can load something. Okay, so now the suspension goes down, and it's theoretically easier to lift heavy items and put them back in there. The loading space is almost flat, as you can see, but I think it will be enough to put some bigger items in. I mean, you don't need the floor to be completely flat. Hopefully you'll get through this threshold here. Anyway, once you put these back and get inside, you can further enlarge the boot space by sliding the seats forward, and you can slide them forward so far that an adult can't fit. But if you're a child in a child seat, you'll be fine. You'll probably just kick the back seats here. Now there are isofix mounts on the external seats, and the tunnel in the middle is quite wide, but it's flat, so it's actually relatively easy to keep your feet on it. There are air vents here, and underneath there is some space. You can order 3-zone climate control, and this is where the controls fit. There's also a 12-volt socket, some nets, plastic back seats, so that's good because they'll be easier to clean. Oh, there is also some space for your large bottles of water in the door bins. They'll fit here easily, and there are two cup holders here in the armrest. Unfortunately, there is no additional storage or a latch for your skis, so you'll have to put them up on the roof or fold one of the seats.
In the front, there is a typical Volkswagen dashboard. It is simple, boring, but mostly practical. I just don't get why there are two lids for the armrest storage when you have to open each one manually rather than just press a button and have both sides open. And the storage is small. As this is an early example, SatNav does not have online services. Later examples have that functionality. Unfortunately, if you get the older version, you cannot update the software to have Google Maps and traffic information.
Keyless entry and keyless ignition are optional, but worth considering. Otherwise, you'll have to insert this fake key into the fake ignition, and compared to a Porsche, it just feels artificial. It's no accident I mentioned Porsche. The Touareg is made on the same platform as the Cayenne, and it is assembled in the Bratislava factory, the same that Porsche Cayenne and Audi Q7 come from. Refreshed Touareg is available with a 3-liter V6 diesel, 204 or 262 horsepower. The more powerful variant also powers the Cayenne diesel. On paper, both cars have the same 0 to 100 km/h time of 7.3 seconds. The engine makes 580 Nm of torque, and the Touareg can tow up to 3.5 tons. This is where the 4Motion all-wheel drive system becomes useful, because let's not kid ourselves, it's not for heavy off-roading. Anyway, I already had some misadventures with the pre-facelift Touareg, and now I know better than to go anywhere more challenging than some sand. But today, all-wheel drive is often supposed to improve driving dynamics and handling, not off-roading abilities. And in case of an SUV weighing, well, over 2 tons and accelerating from 0 to 100 km/h in 7 seconds, all-wheel drive definitely helps to stay on the road. By the way, the Touareg is surprisingly agile for its size. I can feel it especially at low speeds and low revs when the car wants to leap forward even at a slight touch of the gas pedal. There's really no point switching the 8-speed automatic transmission into sports mode, because the Touareg does everything with its flexibility. However, at speed you can feel the car's weight, and the aerodynamics slow you down a bit. But even at motorway speeds, the car remains relatively quiet. Volkswagen promises average fuel consumption in the combined cycle of 6.6 liters per 100 kilometers. Optimistic, I have to say, because I think anything below 10 liters per 100 kilometers is a good result. On the other hand, I never got more than 10.5. So 10.5 is the bracket you're looking at. You can use the pneumatic suspension in normal, comfort or sport mode. Comfort is good for bumpy roads, otherwise, I just keep it in sport. The steering is unobtrusive, I think that's the best description for it. I feel what's happening with the front wheels, but it's no Porsche Cayenne. On the other hand, the Touareg is much better to drive than the Range Rover Sport, which feels more like a truck. But if money and my height wasn't an issue, I think I would go for the BMW X5.
I started with a 70 grand SUV. Yes, you can get a Touareg for as little as 53, but give it some options, a more powerful engine, and you're up there around the 70 grand mark. You get a lot as standard, so a comparably spec'd BMW X5, Porsche Cayenne or Range Rover Sport will be significantly more expensive. And Jeep Grand Cherokee is just too expensive for what it has to offer.
And which SUV would you choose? Let me know in the comments below. Also rate and share my video. Don't forget to subscribe. New episodes every Friday. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.